Hello, I'm Dr. Brian McDonough. It's Saturday, June 11th, 2022. I want to explain something that's a tough concept when it comes to COVID-19. But before I do, as I always do, I want to look at the numbers. Right now in the world, there are 6,308,443 people who have died from the virus. In the United States, we're well over a million, 1,011,165 deaths since COVID hit our shores. What I want to talk about today are two terms that usually make non-scientists' eyes glaze over: RNA and mutation. Those two terms are very scientific, especially if you haven't thought about it maybe since high school biology. The reason why I want to talk about it is it explains why COVID spreads and why it's a problem. So I'm going to use an analogy, which is something many of us are familiar with. Let me pop it up here. It's the Marvel comic universe. In this case, it's a movie called The Eternals, but it could be many of the types of things that you would see in the movies with a lot of the CGI effects and entertainment in that world. Why am I bringing that up? Think about this. I will first explain how RNA virus works in the body, and then I'll talk about the movie analogy. RNA gets into our system, a virus which has RNA gets into our system and it gets into our cells. And unlike DNA viruses, when an RNA virus gets in there, it gets into your cells and it uses all our machinery to replicate, in other words, to grow and divide. But it does something else. When it gets into our body, it mutates, it changes, it takes the defenses that we lob against it and figures out a way to defeat our defenses. In other words, it gets in our body, it attacks us, our body attacks it, we have the battle, we then spread it to somebody else, but what we spread could be a changed virus. It's a virus that has figured out a way to fight our defenses. Happens all the time with RNA. Getting kind of technical, huh? Well, think about the Eternals. Think about the example. If you haven't seen the movie, don't worry about it. The concept is that these monsters, which you're looking at, called the deviants, these deviants, when they kill somebody, they essentially take over the superpowers of the person they killed. They grow, they get better, they get stronger. A similar analogy could go back 20, 25 years, where a monster comes in and it gets electric power and it gets more and more powerful. Well, in this case, in the Eternals, these deviants are taking the superpowers and becoming more powerful themselves. That's it. That's how RNA works. It comes in, it fights you, and it becomes more powerful. So the reason why we need vaccines to fight these viruses, the reason why we need better medications, the reason why we try to reduce the spread, all of those things are to fight back against the mutations. It's as simple as that. It's something that if you've seen a movie, you understand. It's something that if you're taking a science course, it's an easy way to understand it. And most importantly, now that you understand that, you understand a little bit better why we do the things we do to try to prevent it and treat it. That's it for today.